This is First Step.
Hey, welcome to the First Step Podcast. My name is Kevin. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. With me, I've got the beautiful, the wonderful Stupid Stu.
Money won is twice as nice as money earned, boys. Welcome back.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We also got with us Charlie Pigskin. Charlie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Haters are furious, but I'm back.
Oh, love it. I love it. This guy's been eating barbecue for the last 3 days. Tell me, buddy, how was Austin? How did it treat you?
I loved it. One of the best food cities I've ever been to. Terry Black's, La Barbecue. That was some good barbecue. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, barbecue at 12 o'clock is just not my jam. I get it. That's good barbecue. That's not me. Give me the shitty dried up barbecue at the end of the night.
It's never too late to grow up, Kev.
Let's talk.
It's never too late.
Let's go straight into some college football talk. Week 10 was a hell of a week for us. Stupid Stu did amazing in his picks. Let's go through the winners and losers of last week. I have the first winner here. Let's talk about Indiana Hoosiers, man. Pulled off a massive milestone with the first 10-0 start. Took down the Michigan Wolverines 2015. Tight little game. But, man, Bloomington is buzzing. First-year coach Kirk Cinetti takes Indiana 10-0. How do you feel about it, Stu? Is this a team that are we going to be talking about next year, or is this kind of just a one and done for them?
This could be it, and this is their opportunity. Curtis Rourke's only here this year, so they better capitalize while they got him. Indiana's feeling great. They're really high in the rankings. They keep climbing. They keep winning. And as long as they keep handling their own business, they have nothing to worry about. I think they're probably the biggest beneficiary in these current college football playoff rankings. They messed around with Michigan a little last week, one of the first brand names we've seen them play, and they almost got in a little bit of trouble there. Didn't really look overwhelming against that Michigan team, so that was a little concerning. But as long as they keep winning, they got nothing to worry about.
A not very good Michigan team either. We're not talking about Michigan of last year. This is a not good Michigan team. First loser I got here, Georgia loses for the first time to a non-Alabama team. 53-game win streak against a non-Alabama team. To Ole Miss. We talked about it. We saw Ole Miss as a dog here, and we liked them a lot. Their defense was relentless. That Georgia offense just didn't have it. I think Carson Beck has a lack of arm strength, lack of power in those arms. They're all tatted up. Looks too much like Cardos out there. I can't trust that, man. Charlie, how do you feel about this game? I think it's a big deal that Georgia lost. Are they out of the picture completely? Are they coming back? Should we just burn all of our Georgia gear? How do you feel about it?
I'll leave the are they still alive and playoff talk to you two, but Georgia doesn't look like they should look. They're missing their two biggest weapons in the passing game last year in Bowers and McConkey, who clearly Beck used as safety valves and made him look better. Now when Moore's put on his shoulders, he just hasn't been able to lift the team like they need. I thought this was going to be one of the Georgia's best offenses, and it just hasn't been. But I do have to issue a little correction. I think you guys were talking, first of all, Carson Beck looks nothing like me.
No, he's better looking
Second
than you.
of all, I got no tattoos. Yeah. Second of all, you guys are making fun of his eye black and shit like that. He's wearing blackface, and it's time he's held accountable.
No, you can't say that.
He adds blackface throughout the day too. It doesn't stop.
Carlos, you can't come out and say a player's wearing blackface. What are you doing?
Have you seen? I mean, at what point?
It's a little too much.
You can't do that and throw 12 picks.
It looks like a fake beard. It is a
It's
little
a joke.
My biggest problem is, can we stop rushing the field when you beat Carson Beck? Are we done rushing the field when we beat Carson Beck?
Relax.
Relax with the shopping at Publix.
Yeah, the Publix, yeah.
I know what you're saying.
They're rushing the field with 50,000 people for beating an already beat down Dogs team. I don't get it.
I got another loser for you guys, and I'm going to send this one to Stupid Stu because I know Charlie's going to be like, meh. All right, Florida's defense, I think last week took a break. We were on the up and up on Florida's defense. I think they're doing a little bit better than they were. But listen, I think they're a loser. I thought he was doing good stuff on defense. We saw him bettering. I thought he deserved it. But, man, that game last week, holy moly, was that an ass kicking. I'm going to give it to Stu first, and I'll come back to you since you went to the game and you were all like, go Florida. Oh, I do want to mention about something you saw at that game. But Stu, how do you feel about Florida's defense from here on out? Is it just that Texas is way better, or is Florida that bad?
Forget the defense. I'm ready to give this Strickland guy the Man of the Year award, dude. This is my favorite guy ever wearing a visor, sitting there with a smirk on his face, down 42 points with 13 minutes left in the third quarter on national television.
Respect.
This is the Man of the Year right here.
That's a guy
Probably
who
in the
just does
country.
does
He
not
looked great. He looked so good there.
care. Charlie, tell me, you were at the game. How did you feel? How were the vibes for Florida fans?
I think we all knew what we were getting into with no DJ Lagway. I don't think we expected that defensive performance, but everyone enjoyed it. Everyone was just there for a good time. It was a huge turnout of Gators for the first time in Austin. Every Texas fan, honestly, Texas fans are way too nice. There was like one Texas fan talking shit, and I had more people apologizing to me than jumping in. Which, after visiting LSU in Tennessee and being told to f off by everyone from 6 years old to 86, was a little new. The only highlight I would say from the game for me was I happened to sit a couple places right down from Sketch, the streamer.
Oh,
What's up,
really?
brother? So he was there. He passed me in an Earl Campbell jersey, and I was just like, "What the hell was that?" And it was a special team, special players, special plays right there.
Interesting, baby. Tuesday. Listen, also, you sent us a photo, something I never thought I would see again. Two guys in Aaron Hernandez jerseys.
My God.
Now, that's a question. I have a question here. Are those like their last name's Hernandez and they just threw up some, or were those Aaron Hernandez? Like, those look like old school Aaron Hernandez jerseys, dude.
I think those are two trolls. I think those are just two Gator fan.
That's a bad
trolls that
look,
like
dude.
wearing,
That's a bad look for Gators fans.
I see a lot of Ray Lewis jerseys in them.
Oh,
so.
never forget Aaron's career.
Yeah.
They put the bricks in the wall.
He was an All-American.
He's
That
also
wasn't
a
all
murderer.
Not in school.
Yeah, he tried.
Another talk about.
That was Tom
He
Brady.
only became a criminal because of Tom
Yeah.
Brady. Oh God, I love it. All right, another loser we have, and this one hurts a little bit. Miami, man, their hopes crashed down last week. We thought that undefeated team was just gonna keep on strolling, baby. But Georgia Tech, listen, they're the cardiac canes for a reason. We kept so many games close, and it finally bit us in the ass. Stupid Stu, how you feeling about the Canes from here on out?
I'm not overly worried because Pittsburgh became my favorite people last weekend and put us right back in the driver's seat. If we weren't in the driver's seat, I'd be terrified. Miami gets a week off. They really need it. That was a tough 4-week stretch starting with Louisville, and then they had a tough run into Duke and then Georgia Tech. I'm really upset with the defense, as everyone else is. I felt like they got out-schemed that game. I felt like that was really more than just bad players playing bad. I thought that was our coach not adjusting. So that's a little concerning. But, hey, you still got a lot to play for. You control your own destiny. You got 3 weeks to figure this thing out. And your offense still, and as bad as you played, you still had a chance in that game.
I feel like I'm not a defensive genius by any means, but when I see every play going to the outside, just running on the outside, jet sweeps to the outside, screen to the outside.
They ran 4 plays. They substituted quarterbacks. It was the most obvious thing when they were going to throw. And they beat us with completions in 17 yards.
What are we doing here?
Guidry's really going to have a hot seat soon. I don't want to just – he's going to get the rest of the year, so let's just see how it plays out. But it was really concerning last week.
Yeah, I would love to see. Maybe we could convince Billy Napier to come down, coach some defense down here, and give us somebody else, anybody.
Let me talk some Georgia Tech. Defense, and I don't get to talk Georgia Tech.
You can only say good things. That's the problem.
Yeah, good things about Georgia Tech and Brent Key and that running offense. The bottom line is, at some point, this is Miami's identity. This is what they do. They keep teams that they should be better than in every game. Their defense doesn't tackle, gives up big plays, or in this game was the opposite. They just kept hemorrhaging plays, play after play. That's just who Miami's been.
No, I disagree.
Out teams.
It's been 3 games. It's been 3 games. It's been 3 games.
3 games, and Duke was over halfway through
Virginia
the third.
Tech.
It's 3 games.
Cal.
Virginia Tech, Duke, and Cal are the only games Miami was trailing in the second half.
Yeah.
And
That's
Duke
3
was not
games.
Virginia Tech, Miami played a great second half and came back. Cal is the one that,
A lot of good second halves, but awful first halves and awful
none of those are bad
to
teams, though.
start.
None of those are bad teams.
They're not good teams. They're not good teams.
They're not great. They're bowl teams.
They're not good teams either. None of them are good.
They aren't good teams.
I think the issue is that has been putting themselves in positions to lose, but luckily their offense has outplayed anybody's defense. In this last case, Cam Ward is still a plus 800 Heisman candidate winner. I would take those odds right now if I could. Unfortunately, my sportsbook doesn't allow me. Cam Ward is a Heisman front runner and deserves to be. I still think he's the best quarterback in college football. I don't know why it went down so much. I think every quarterback has a bad game. That was a tough game. Georgia Tech's not a bad team by any means. They're not a great team. They're not an elite team, but there's only a handful of those right now.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm not hating on it. I was upset on the defense. I do say that we've been missing tackles. We've been talking about those big plays that we've been letting go those big plays have been ruining our defense, and we got to fix on the outside. We have issues on the outside on the perimeter, and I'm hoping that they make adjustment. I do think that if we get into the playoffs and we make a run for it, they're going to have to fix that, right? That's a situation where they're going to expose you every time, especially a team like, let's talk about it, Alabama. That's a big winner this week. Alabama's run game has been, they stopped throwing the ball and just decided to run, and all of a sudden that offense has been a thing of beauty, right? Alabama's been playing great offense and had really good defense. Really good defense. They rolled LSU last week. Charlie, do you think Alabama right now is a contender for the national championship?
Absolutely. I think Milroe, every single time he steps on the field, could be the best player in the field. I think DeBoer in big games knows how to put him in position to do well, but Alabama has what we see in a lot of other great teams this year, including Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, all those national title contenders, is that there's no team that's put it together every week. The closest we've seen is Oregon, and even they, I think, are pretty flawed that we haven't seen with their schedule yet. Like this, does Alabama have the potential to beat anyone and go on a run and win a 12-team playoff? Absolutely. I'd put them probably among the four most likely to be able to put it together. That doesn't mean they will. They've still shown a floor where they can almost lose to South Carolina, a floor where they could lose to Vanderbilt, a floor where they're like a two-punch offense, but those two punches are haymakers. So yeah, they can absolutely win it all.
Respect. Stu, how do you feel about Alabama?
They played with their food with USF too, but I actually agree a lot with what Charlie was saying. I think Alabama is one of these teams that can, when you look at to win this title, you're going to have to win 3 or 4 games versus very good teams. All these teams have a little bit of an issue. So what really matters to me is how versatile can you play? Because it's all going to be about matchups. Some teams match up well with other teams. We talked about with Miami and Georgia Tech wasn't a good matchup because that's a team that could take the air out of the ball. But when you get in these playoffs, you're going to have to play a diverse kind of style of teams and your ability to match up. And I think Alabama has the biggest weapon of any of these teams. Maybe Miami with Cam Ward, but really Jalen Milroe with his ability with his feet too, that they could just beat any team. This guy could take over any game and just carry you through that game. LSU is complete dog shit.
It's the Tigers on the field.
I can't handle this anymore. You have the biggest game. They call this an elimination game, and they get absolutely run out of the building. But they looked awful. They had a concerning double-digit loss 2 weeks ago to Texas A&M. 3 weeks ago, they lost to a USC team that right now can't even field the game. This LSU team, they're horrible, man.
Yeah, I don't like them that much. Listen, they're obviously a good SEC. They're obviously not a bad SEC team, right? Like, they're decent. Are they better than the other 5-6 guys, all the other SEC teams? I don't think so. I think if it was an SEC tournament, they would end up probably out in the second round, probably even earlier, or late. Maybe they'll go deeper in, but I see them as a second round exit for sure against any of these SEC teams we're talking about. But I agree with you, man. Another winner I have here, and this is just an all-out, loser that I have here. Anybody who missed out on the Holy War game, holy moly, what a watch! That was a fantastic game. Stupid Stu, tell me about it. Did you see it, or are you a loser that missed out on it?
No, I was watching. I had a great week last week. I couldn't stop watching college football. Making money is sweet. It's better to make it gambling than it is earned.
Yeah,
the Holy War was unbelievable. They got bailed out by that holding call on defense at the end. It was a hold, but it's just one of those weird things where you go to Utah and magic happens in that place on the road. I had a feeling I stayed away from BYU for that reason on the spread, because I just don't know what it is, but it's a weird place to play. And Kyle Whittingham, you dog him too much, and he has his team ready to go. And then BYU, man, they got lucky.
Man, Utah was pissed about that game. They were furious, like rightfully so. Charlie, you would agree, right?
Yeah, and I do got to point out one thing in that game that I loved. I was watching at the bar there in Austin. One of my favorite things when they play these rivalry games and they wear color on color. That all blue versus all red. I thought the aesthetics of the game looked so sick. It looked so good. I thought Utah was going to have it. It's a game I wish I would have bet because I would have been I love Utah in that spot. Such a tough place. But they got, I don't know, I would say they got more screwed than not, but I don't think it was an indefensible call. But God, that's brutal to lose like that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think college football playoff rankings they're just too confusing for everybody right now. And I don't think that they should come out until the very end because I'm confused. I get excited about it. However, I do think they are important. Charlie, we talked before the pod. You said that they don't mean anything, but I will argue they actually mean a lot because we have teams like Indiana who now it's highly ranked and they don't play against anybody. So they're going to stay highly ranked if they win out. There's no chance that they're going to drop. So the fact that the playoff committee has them so high doesn't give any opportunity for anybody to come in between. So if you have a 1-loss, 2-loss team or somewhere that'll come in there and probably better than Indiana, realistically, it doesn't matter because are you going to lower Indiana if they don't lose a game? That's my only argument on why these rankings do matter.
I mean, the NCAA tournament doesn't have the committee meeting every week to set up the tournament and let you know exactly where you stand. It's not like Indiana's going to try to win or lose any more or less because of where they're ranked this week. So I don't care. But ultimately, my argument with the rankings is not that it's not important or isn't relevant or something like that. It's just to me not interesting at all. It's not how I like to watch college football. I don't care about arguing with so many games, so many important games. Like we got Georgia, Tennessee this weekend. That's going to matter a lot more how that game goes than where either of those teams are ranked right now. I guarantee you either one's going to be in the top 5 or top 10, whatever, in the driver's seat to make a playoff if they win this game. So I'm a lot less worried about where people are at in November 13th. We could go back any other year and be arguing about where people are ranked at this point. To me, the most interesting part of the playoff that I think we should be talking about more are the conference title races, because being a conference champion is so much more valuable in this setup than ever before. You could have a Big 12 title game that features 2 teams, one team in playoff position, but another team not even the top 20. That's still very much in the air, and you can have
not even top 25.
So I'm much more interested in who makes those conference title games, what that race is looking like, and when it comes to those final at-large bids, I'll wait it out and see what we're looking at in the last week or two.
We talked about it a little bit previously. The conference, the college football playoff, the way it's set up right now, I always thought, when we first started talking about early preseason, I was thinking you have your conference champion. Those will get your bye weeks, right? The first round buys, and then your G5 will get like the highest position wherever he's ranked in the playoff setting. And then I was like, okay, then usually you'll give the guy who lost the conference championship a spot because let's say an Ohio State, Oregon situation or whatever top SEC teams, the first and second. But now you have if Miami doesn't win the ACC championship, they're probably out of it. Or whoever doesn't win the ACC is probably not going to play in the college football playoff. When the dust all settles, is it just going to be SEC, Big Ten, and then 3 other teams or 4 other teams? Stu, how do you feel about it?
I mean,
you can go, Charlie. All I can say on that is we're going to see what we saw maybe when Ohio State won a national title a few years back, and they didn't even play in the Big Ten title game. They sat on the sideline and got healthy, and that's an advantage this year with having to win 4 tough games in a row or 3 if you get the bye. But that's crazy advantage.
Yeah, if I'm ranked high, why would I even play the conference championship?
It could be an advantage not to. Absolutely. It's just a weird quirk. And especially I think the hardest part is we're comparing teams from very different conferences when even within the same conference, teams have such different types of schedule. Like with the schedule that Texas and Missouri are playing are so much easier than what Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida are playing this year. You can't even do that anymore. You really got to go under the hood and see what teams they actually played, which I think has just made college football more difficult to follow. The arguments, honestly, there's just a lot less to stand on. And I hate that aspect of it. We're talking about only a 12-game season, and you're making these big arguments for not that large a sample size. So I wish we could go back to a smaller conference setup with more regional matchups, something like that, but cat's out of the bag on that. And we got what we got right now. It's
going to be interesting. I think 2 years from now, SEC and Big Tens have that option to reconsider the playoff option, and I think they're allowed to change however they want to set up their playoffs in their end. And this might only last 2 years, right? Like it's an interesting case study on the psyche because what SEC plays how many FCS teams? What, like two a season, or not even?
Some play most. I'll say most play 1, but not everyone.
But they're not gonna be wanting playing each other so much because if we base it just off record, right? If we just base it off this year alone and the setup, then they might not get spots. Other teams will. It has no benefit to them, to the SEC, to be playing against each other because they might not be presented. So is this the college football saying like, hey, no, don't go anywhere. This is going to work. We're just going to stack up this team with 4 SEC teams and 5 Big Ten teams. You guys aren't going anywhere. Screw the other leagues. Or is it the other conferences just need to step the fuck up and have better teams? Is that what we're saying?
If Miami had not lost to Georgia Tech,
I think
and
ACC super.
my point is that like we can get into a situation like if BYU is undefeated going to the Big 12 title game and they lose to someone like Colorado, BYU still might make it to the end of the playoff, be like a 10 or 11 seed, and then all of a sudden we'll look like a one bid conference becomes 2. We're very familiar with bid stealing in college basketball, but that absolutely can happen in the college football sense. We go crazy on who's the 11-12 team right now, but there might not be an 11-12 team that makes the playoff based on where the conference champions are
right
ranked
now,
at the end of the year. So
right now,
that's why it's like,
12 team isn't making it, right? Georgia's at 12. They're not making it.
Yes.
Boise State's coming in.
Let's just let the season play out. I think this argument is just there's so much good football we could be talking about. We don't got to be.
We're gonna go into right now.
Comparing resumes, just 9 games in.
Let's talk about Tennessee, Georgia. Let's go with the big dog straight up. Best game of the week, but hands down, it's crunch time for Georgia. Coming off a rough loss to Ole Miss, we just talked about it. Georgia now has 2 losses, and a third was probably going to knock them out of playoff contention here. They're playing against a Tennessee team. I think either one of these teams need to win in order to be even considered into the playoff. I think a 3-loss team is not going to make it out here. I think this game's a little too close to call for my betting. But Stu, how do you feel about this game?
Man, Tennessee's a little banged up right now. So
Yeah.
I'm not feeling great. We've lost, I think, 12 straight to Georgia. And now they just dogged the Dogs. This does not look like a good spot for Tennessee. Tennessee dealing with some other key injuries besides Nico, too. A little bit hurt on the depth chart. Sean Bishop's hurt. The Thornton's hurt. The season-long injury to Jordan Thomas is not going to help you here. So I'm a little worried about it. But as a Tennessee fan, as a Rocky Top fan, I did not like this. This number was disrespectful. You know I had to take the Vols. I don't care what quarterback, Gaston, Nico. This number's disrespectful. These Georgia Bulldogs, they stink.
Do you get them at 10.5? No, tell me.
No, but I'm just going to keep going to that one, keep drinking out of it, if I lose big. But I'm firing up the grill. I'm cooking some dogs. I'm so sick of these Georgia Bulldogs. Carson Beck shops at Publix. This guy just drives me crazy. And you know what? Tennessee has a good defense. Defenses travel. And Dylan Sampson's a stud. He rolled his ankle a little last week. I'm worried about that too. But, hey, Heupel's going to have these guys ready to go. And I'm not counting out the Vols until I see them get out.
And they haven't officially ruled them out yet, have they?
No, they haven't. There's a lot of speculation that he's not going to play. If Gaston Moore plays, everyone in the country is going to suffer if we have to watch Carson Beck and Gaston Moore play to go toe-to-toe. It's going to be maybe hit the under. It's going to be awful. Georgia can't run the ball. Georgia cannot run the ball. Tennessee, their tackles, they played well last week, but they're not very good. And Georgia's pretty good on the edge. I don't know what to expect in this game, but I'm rolling with the Vols.
The big difference between Georgia and Alabama that I saw is that Alabama figured out that they're not going to be able to throw the ball that much this year, and they're just focused on the run game, and they've been driving it. And since they've done that, they've been really great. Charlie, how do you feel about this game? Do you have a play on it?
I have a play right now. I don't even know who I want to root for. On one hand, Georgia loses. Their playoff hopes take a huge hit. On the other hand, that means Tennessee's in the driver's seat to make the SEC title game. As a hater, there's a lot of research I still got to do to see who
you had to hate you hate both teams.
I just got to figure out. I'm not gonna lie, I hate Georgia a lot more than Tennessee, so I'd probably be rooting just for Tennessee to just put the knockout blow on Blackface Carson and the Dogs team.
Dude, could you stop calling Blackface? This guy's gonna get canceled. All 2 of our listeners are gonna get on this back. This guy's a blackface wearer. Destroy this guy's life. Oh boy. All right, I get it. I get it.
I'll have a better answer you by the weekend on what the haters guide to Tennessee, Georgia.
Who do I hate most this week? I'll let you know. All right, next big game I have. These are the bigger games this week. I have Kansas at BYU. I think Jayhawks here, 3-6. They're not trying to give up here. They just came off an impressive win over Iowa State. They dropped 45 points. They could be dangerous when they want to be. 5 of their 6 losses have been 6 points or fewer, showing they've been competitive. They're looking for a fight here. BYU narrowly escaped Utah with a win. I don't like them at all that much. I like Kansas here plus 2.5. I think they showed they could hang with tough teams. BYU is like the Canes, where they like to keep games close. Give me Kansas here, plus 2.5. Stupid Stu, how stupid was this move?
This is pretty stupid because you're rolling with me here, Kev, and this is one of my favorite picks of the week. I got Rock Chalk Jayhawk 2 plus 3 against BYU. Look, BYU's winning these close games. It's a tale of two teams here. Hughes won 3 games by 7 points combined, and Kansas finds a way to lose every single close game. But no, Kansas is one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They're playing really well. They ran all over Iowa State, like you were saying. Devin Neal really emerged last week, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. And honestly, watching that game, Iowa State, Kansas, that was a highlight reel of bad defense every single play.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen so many 50-yard touchdowns. I felt like for a second that Miami's defense had improved watching that game. I felt it was an awesome game, though, back and forth. Kansas right now with Devin Neal playing well in the run game. Lance Leipold, great coach. Devin Neal just became the all-time Kansas leading rusher in touchdowns and yards. So I'm rolling with the Jayhawks. I think they got a lot to play for this week. I think they're going to be road warriors, and I think they're going to end BYU season.
I love it. Charlie, how do you feel about it?
I agree with most of what you guys are saying. My biggest issue is just playing in Provo on a Saturday night, 10:15. And BYU still has so much to play for. I've been fading this BYU team and just getting my ass handed to me for most of it, especially earlier in this year. Kansas playing a lot better right now. Even their losses the last month have been looking really good. They barely lost to Kansas State, barely lost to Arizona State, really took care of Houston, and then obviously we saw what they did last week against a good Iowa State team. But I think the most interesting thing is just Kansas the next 2 weeks has a chance to like really change what we were talking about, the Big 12 and title picture. They've got BYU this week and Colorado next week. And I think that Colorado game is definitely one I have circled, excited to bet. Love to bet that over. Love to bet Kansas to host Colorado and take them. Them going on the road to BYU. I'll be rooting for Kansas because I like what they're putting together. I've always respected Lance Leipold, but I can't pull the trigger like you guys can right now.
Beautiful. That's a perfect lob straight toward me. Let's talk Utah, Colorado here. I have Utah here at plus 12.5. I think Colorado has the edge, but Utah's defense is just way better here. I think at some point Colorado has a Miami issue. It's all about Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. At some point that's going to implode in their face. Shedeur can't do everything all the time. I think Utah here at plus 12.5. Give me those points. I'm taking those points all day. Stupid Stu, how stupid am I on this one? I feel like
I'm pretty stupid here. Utah's lost 5 games in a row. I'm done with the Utes.
Okay. That's fine. As long as you're against me, I'm feeling good about it.
I'm against you here, man. I'm going with Coach Prime and the boys. I believe Coach Prime. I got the receipts. Shedeur's killing it. Travis Hunter's playing for something more than just the Big 12 title. I'm not getting in the way of this team.
It would be such a great story, though. The Utes taking out. Charlie, how do you feel about this one?
I'm with you, Kev. In this 5-game losing streak that we're talking about, Utah's defense has still shown up every single game. They've given up 23-27 and 13-17 and 22. It's been their offense just been killing them. And I think now that it's been 3 weeks since Cam Rising was officially ruled out, that's a team I trust. I still trust Kyle Whittingham. I know the biggest worry is just how much of a that was their Super Bowl last week to try to ruin BYU's season and how disappointing that was. But bottom line is I think this is a defense you can count on. And I think Colorado, while they looked really good and I have them pretty highly rated right now, I think that's too many points for a defense that even in their when they've played their worst have kept these games close.
Yeah, 12.5 points is a lot to me. If you could get a little bit more, that's even better. Dude, if you want to go nuts and you do a little upset here, wow, what a game that would be. But get the points at 12.5, at least my end, unless you want to listen to Stupid Stu, but don't because he's stupid. Texas at Arkansas, my next big game. Texas has only one loss here. They're sitting on top of the world right now, right? I think they played a great game last week. Quinn Ewers has finally found his rhythm. Arkansas secondary has struggled all season long. I don't think they're going to be able to stop that offense. Texas at minus 13.5. I think it already went up to minus 14. Charlie, how do you feel about this game?
I mean, Texas is a team I just have a hard time trusting right now, what they're going to be week in, week out. I think even last week against Florida, I thought Sarkisian did an incredible job with his game plan, just taking a very injured Florida secondary and just putting them in fits, just had people wide open everywhere. And it took Quinn Ewers 3 drives to finally start hitting them because from my seats, they were just open people all day. This Texas team to me has just been consistent since the beginning of the year offensively, and to cover a big number against a solid Arkansas team. I'm not going to bet Arkansas, but I don't feel good laying 14 points against a decent SEC team.
And just when I thought you were the smart one.
I like the Hogs here. I'm a big Hog guy. I'm rolling with Arkansas. I got them at 15 this week, and I'm rolling with the big time Hogs. Styles make fights here, and then the situation's good. Arkansas coming off the bye, much needed. I think Sam Pittman and Petrino, he's going to have time to get back into the football, and I think Arkansas really needed to get healthy. Taylor Green now is getting a little healthier. They're getting healthier at their running back position. I'm not certain Texas has this incredible – their defense is graded out great statistically. I'm not sure they're this top 5 defense for sure. They haven't really played anybody. They played Vanderbilt and they played Georgia, and Georgia took it to them in front of their home crowd. So I want to see if Arkansas, this offense, can make some drives down the field and score some points. We saw that. They beat Tennessee. This is a tough, gritty team. And then I think on the defensive end is where you want to get after Arkansas. But we have seen a little bit of choppiness to Texas sometimes. They looked really good last week, but we have seen them get a little choppy sometimes. I do think Texas has a big advantage with the passing game against this Arkansas secondary. Texas getting a little healthier receiver. Isaiah Bonds going to have a good day there. But I do think Arkansas has too many points. Arkansas could win this game, and you're getting 15.5. That's way too many points.
13.5. Did it go up?
I'll take it at 13.5 too. I'll take it at 13.5. Off the bye, I'm really feeling confident in these Hogs.
It's a 2-touchdown game. You guys watch it. I'll talk about it next week, how you guys are all wrong on this one. Texas is going to take this one nice and easy. Last one I have here. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. Not the last one I have. The next one I have here. Tulane, Navy. I know it's not that important game, but I do think it's a fun game. Tulane here at 25 is super fun. Navy, also America's team, deserves to be ranked up here. Give me Navy at +7. Tulane, I think, is going to win this one, but I think Navy's going to be able to control the pace here and keep it a lot closer than people think. If you're going against me, you're anti-American. Stupid Stu, how do you feel?
I'm sorry, but we're fading the troops and we're riding the green wave across this naval fleet. I really do Tulane this year. I think their offense is fun to watch. They can make plays down the field. Navy, I don't think that Navy is going to be able to score on the first play of the game like they've done 5 times this season against Tulane. I think the cards are out. They run that option style. I think Tulane's played really well traditionally against the option and this coaching staff. So I like Tulane. I'm riding the green wave. They're going to flip the boats this week. We're fading the troops.
Oh, my God. I hate everything you said there. Everything you said about that, I hate it. I do like Mackie Hughes a lot, though, on Tulane. I think he's a really good player. Charlie, how do you feel about it?
For the midshipmen.
It's breaking my heart, guys. It's breaking my heart. It's breaking my heart, dude. I am in a podcast full of anti-American bad people who like, come on, dude. 7 points? Navy's a good team. They got a good defense.
Call me contra patria, but I see Tulane taking this one big.
It is senior night at Navy, and they are, I think, 14-1 in their last 15 senior nights or something. This is a big night. Not a lot of these Naval Academy men going to the NFL or anything.
This is their hoorah.
It is.
14-2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm saying after this week.
No, we know. I'm not saying they could win it. I'm saying the 7 points. I said the 7. All right, spread here. I got the next one. Tigers, Missouri, Tigers against Stu's favorite, the big old Cocks, the South Carolina Gamecocks. South Carolina has been a hot streak. Won the last 3 games. Missouri has struggled all season long against SEC teams. Probably not playing with Brady Cook this week. I don't think they said he's playing. South Carolina defense has kept opponents under 20 points in the last 3 games, and I think they're going to keep on doing it. I like South Carolina here at -12.5. I think they're going to keep on rolling, especially if Missouri can't have Cook on their team. Their offense is going nowhere. Charlie, how do you feel about this game?
I mean, I just don't think South Carolina has a good enough offense to cover a spread that big. I love South Carolina. I've been riding them a lot this year, riding the Cocks, but I don't see it. I'm not betting Missouri.
This is a complete fade on Missouri.
I agree.
More than it is.
You gotta know when to jump off the Cocks, and I think this is the week to jump off.
Stupid Stu, how do you feel about it?
I'm off them too. This South Carolina team, I won't bet on Missouri, but I just think 12.5 is a lot of points to cover. And South Carolina's offense is not this offense that you want to be covering a big number with. They are playing well. They are hot right now, but I'm off them.
I'm off. I love that. All right, so I just want to recap a little bit here. The last 4 bets, you both are fading me on the last both of my 4 bets. No, respect. I appreciate that. All right, these next are my best bets. If you guys fade me on these, I'm just gonna pack up. I'm not even posting this thing. Clemson at Pitt. I think Pitt stumbled back here a little bit with their losses to SMU and Virginia. I think they got exposed on their defense, especially in the secondary. Clemson has rebounded with a win over Virginia Tech. They're trying to get that ACC spot back. Cade Klubnik is looking to exploit this Pitt defense. Let me get Clemson at -10 here. I think they're going to come out strong and cover the spread against this defense.
Yeah, I thought we were doing it because we're boycotting because Javi's not on the pod. But
Yeah.
before I jump into Clemson, I do Clemson -10 here. I got to give a big shout out to Virginia for taking care of Pitt last week. Virginia doing the Lord's work and getting Miami back in the controlling seat. But did you guys see how this game ended? Did you guys see what happened in this game?
No.
Pittsburgh. Virginia has the ball on the ACC refs strike again. ACC refs are the worst kinds of people in the world. Virginia has the ball 4th and 1 on the Pitt 23-yard line with 5 minutes left. And they dare go for it. And they get absolutely stuffed at the line of scrimmage. And then once they get stuffed, this game's at Pittsburgh. The refs call the play dead. And they get on the air and they say, we were not in the proper position. We got to replay the down. The refs were not ready for the 4th and 1. So Virginia goes for it again. They convert. They go down and score. I could list a million calls from ACC refs that are horrible. Also, Pittsburgh, Eli Holstein, their quarterback, got knocked out of this game. Nate Yarnell comes in and saves Miami season. He goes 4 for 12, throws 2 picks, puts the Hoos right back in the game. Really heartbreaker for Pitt. I think Pitt's team is demoralized. I think Clemson's actually playing well. I think the Tigers are going to beat the tar out of them. I don't even know what to say to Pittsburgh, but I'm happy. That's just a tough scene. That's a tough scene.
Dude, that's a tough look, dude. I'll take it. Listen, hey, we benefited the most out of that.
In the post game, Pat Narduzzi said, I gotta own this one because I didn't tell my guys to plan for 5 downs because we were planning to stop them for 4 downs. It's just unbelievable. The ACC,
ACC refs, baby.
Said the rest weren't lined up.
Never failed to impress. Charlie, how do you feel about this one?
Vibes say Clemson for sure, covering 10. But like all the numbers I like to look at say should be an easy cover for Pitt. I'm just going to stay away from it. This Clemson team, like I thought they had figured it out earlier this year, and it feels like their offense has just taken a step back over the last 3 or 4 games. I'm very disappointed in Clemson because I need someone to take Miami out, and I thought that could be Clemson. I'm not feeling the same anymore.
Keep in mind, Pitt is the 104th ranked pass defense in all of college football. That is not a good place to be against the Clemson team.
What's the 104th and what?
In pass defense.
Like pass yards?
Yeah. It's no bueno. Next game I got here. Yeah. Next best bet. Oregon State, Air Force Falcons. Okay. Air Force at 4.5. I got them at 4.5. I did think the line moved a little bit. I think it was at 3. I like them at 4.5. I think Oregon State is just barely making it to this matchup. I think they lost a bunch of players in 4 games or something. They lost pretty much their entire team. They're playing with a bunch of nobodies out there. Air Force has been pretty competitive in recent games, and I think they're going to capitalize on this one. I think 4.5 points here. I actually see them taking this game completely. Let me get Air Force here at 4.5. Stu, do you even know what's going on in this game, or are you just going to fade me just to fade me?
There's no chance I'll bet on the Falcons. I think Air Force stinks this year.
Come on, bro. You're
really
the most anti-American person I've ever heard in my life right now, dude.
I think Air Force is not a very good football team. I know they're feeling good after that win over Fresno, but I'll roll with the Beavers here. Power 4 football.
You're a beaver. You're a beaver and a cock lover, buddy.
They're not even Power 4, but Power 4.5 there. I'll take the half.
Charlie, how do you feel about this one?
I mean, I would love to have a strong opinion on Oregon State and Air Force, but I haven't watched enough of either team this year to have a strong opinion.
You sure you don't want to tail the Beavers?
No.
Yeah, I see what I did there.
You can't fade every military branch.
Can't be completely. Arizona State against the Kansas State Wildcats here. I think ASU's had a pretty solid season, but I think this road matchup could be pretty much their toughest one. I think their running back Cam's, I don't know how to say his last name. Scatabo. He's not going to be playing. I think Wildcats defense is going to have the upper hand here. Give me Kansas State at 8.5. I think they're going to be able to contain ASU's run game without Scatabo here and probably win by double digits. Charlie, how do you feel about this one?
I like that. I have that as a lean. I haven't bet it quite yet, but I like Kansas State to win by 10 plus. So 8.5 seems like a good number to lay.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that pick. Kansas State, very upsetting to lose. Houston's kind of turned it around. That Willie Fritz team is playing so much better, and they have a really good defense. Little shocker to get beat last week outright to Houston, but I do think Kansas State gets back to what they're well. I think Avery Johnson's going to start using his feet again. Get the tight end involved. DJ Giddens has to get going. He hasn't been going the last couple of games. That's really hurt their offense. And then Chase Brown, that dynamic receiver. I just think Kansas State's a little too much firepower. Arizona State, I like Kenny Dillingham, but Scatterbo is hurt, and like you're saying, he was going to Dillingham on the sidelines last game, begging to put him in, telling the coach because their offense was looking so bad. I'm not sure this is going to get any better. And then you're going up against Kansas State. Coach Klein just taking a loss. I think they're going to have a big bounce back here. I like the Wildcats.
I like it, dude.
We're with
one.
you this one.
I'll take it. The only one you guys are fading me on my best bets are Air Force, and that's because you guys are anti-American. Except for you, Charlie. I'm sorry. Except for you, Charlie. Except for you.
He doesn't love Cox this week.
But he loves them every other week. Loves riding them. Loves riding the Cox. Listen, you guys, I know you guys probably have a lot more favorite bets or favorite games that we didn't talk about. Stu, you want to go first?
Yeah, I got a couple, not a bunch. I got UCLA, the Bruins, plus 3.5. This team is one of the better they're playing. They found lightning in a bottle here. Their defense is good, just like last year. They're showing some fight. I don't like betting against Jedd Fisch. And how about this kicker? UCLA's kicker last week nails a 57-yard field goal. Give me the defense. Give me kickers. Anytime we could be football guys and cheer for kickers, I'm really happy. But a big win for the Bruins, taking down the Hawkeyes last week, stuffing Caleb Johnson, held him to a season low 49 rush yards. The guy's averaging 150 rush yards a game, almost leading the country behind Genty. And they got Brendan Sullivan benched, the new Iowa Hawkeyes quarterbacks. Garbers tries to be crazy. The UCLA quarterback, he's fun to watch. I'll bet him. Hopefully he can limit those turnovers. Next game, I'm riding with the Hoos. Virginia plus 23.5 against Notre Dame. Look, Notre Dame's been blowing everyone off the field. This one worries me a little bit, but I do lean this way. There's a lot of points for a team that plays at slow tempo. Virginia, they can convert some first downs. They're running the ball well. They just beat Pittsburgh, and they're catching 23.5 points against the Irish. I like that one. Boston College, I'm rolling with plus 17 against SMU. This is just a pure Bill O'Brien play. I know Castellanos it's not looking good in that camp, but hey, Castellanos has missed some games this year. Boston College has found a way to weather the ship with him being out.
This one just moved up to plus 20.
We're going to go back to the well and take another drink then. That's fine with me. And then I like Sam Houston State, minus 13.5 against Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, so everyone's heard, it's gone viral. They move up from FCS to FBS this year. Their coach who got him there, who's been there 10 years, gets fired. It's a really nightmare scene. I just think there's so much distractions on a program like this, obviously on a bad football team. Sam Houston State coming off the bye. A lot to play for still. Their offense hasn't got going. I look for them to get it going this week. 13.5 is nothing. I'll take that. And then the last one, I like Baylor, minus 2.5 at West Virginia. West Virginia, big cover for me last week. Was really happy with that. But this team's not very good. We don't know if Garrett Green's going to play. They say he's in concussion protocol. He might have just got benched. But really, Baylor's the story here. Baylor's front seven's playing really well, and then their running game has emerged. They've ran for over 250 yards 3 games in a row. Give me Baylor. Give me Dave Aranda. This guy's saving his job. I don't know how, but I like Baylor minus 2.5.
I like all those, dude. I really don't hate any of them. Charlie, how about you? Any games we missed or?
I'll go through some leans I have that I'll probably put some fun behind. Boston College plus 19.5. It's one of those lines that shock you when you look at it, and I got to do some digging why it's so big because that just seems off by a lot of points. I got Memphis minus 14 against UAB. Seemed like UAB had figured out something on offense, but I do think Memphis is just a much better team and more talented, and they'll take care of them. Colorado State is a team that I've been riding for a month now. They've been playing great. They've got a really big rivalry game against Wyoming this week. They got a chance to reset that rivalry after losing a bunch to Craig Bowl. He's retired. They're ready to put their stomp on it for what I think is the second best team in the Mountain West right now. It's like them or UNLV. I've got San Jose State plus 13.5 against Boise, although I'm waiting for a better number. I think Boise's been just playing with their food. I think they haven't been looking great. Even Genty has been needing 30 carries when earlier this year he needed 15 to get some of the numbers we've seen. Here I'm going to be fading USA, University of South Alabama. I got Louisiana Lafayette covering 7 against South Alabama. South Alabama is not a bad Sun Belt team, but I think Louisiana Lafayette's the best team in the Sun Belt with how they've been playing, and a sneaky team that could get into that 12 seed conversation if they end up winning out. And my last pick is Western Kentucky minus 14. Straight up straight from the algorithm.
Straight from the algo, baby. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, sometimes you got to trust the freak in the sheets.
The freak in the sheets never wrong until he is.
I think one more pick too. Let's roll with the algorithm. They're playing the dirty soap people. They're going to send them. They're going to fly across the country. Syracuse, Fran Brown, no shower. He's going to top on that 10-hour flight, hop in his crusty bed next to his wife, smelling like Cal Bear. And I'm rolling with the algorithm. Winners get washed. Cal will be washing themselves
for the rest of this week. He's just sitting there in his stank. You got to shower that loss off, dude. When I do something gross, I got to shower it off. Anytime I walk into your guy's apartment, I shower myself right after because it just smells of nastiness in there. Listen, I think this week has been phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for joining. I like all your guys' picks. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a fantastic podcast. I think so. Make sure you guys check us out on firststeppodcast.com. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, iHeartRadio. Check out Terry Black's, man.
A little geocache at Terry Black's.
Oh, we should have left a geocache at Terry Black's, man. We should have left. It would have been gone.
I volunteer to go back.
It would be so early. You would have to get there at 8 o'clock in the morning to put it on. But you guys, make sure you guys check out. I've been posting up some blogs. I've been doing some NFL stuff. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram. That's where we lock in our picks. You'll see a post by all three of us there. We'll get some posting from the NFL from Javi and myself as well. And make sure you guys keep checking us out. We're going to get some NBA stuff coming up soon. We've got some college basketball stuff coming soon, some NFL stuff. We got some NHL stuff as well. We're getting all the sports. We're in a good sports time now. Champions have started ramping up. We've got soccer talk coming. It's a lot of good stuff. Thank you so much. See ya.
You've been listening to First Step. We told you we don't take this too seriously, didn't we? I'd say we've proven that. Yes, we love sports, and we love sports betting. But we like the funner side, not the stuffy side. We hope you had a blast like we did. If so, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and TikTok at First Step Bets. See you next time on First Step.